I'm about to reveal my age here, but I used to work at an estate agency that had sales offices set up at large new housing developments. Back then, our main communication tool was the fax machine. One day, a sales associate called the office to inform us that their fax machine had run out of paper. I told them it wasn't an issue, as one of the team members would be heading their way for a house tour, and I'd send over a box of paper with him. What followed was an almost 20-minute argument where they kept insisting, "No, just send me a blank fax because I need paper. It'll print out from my fax machine." Trying to explain how that wasn't how fax machines worked was like attempting to pin jelly to a wall. Frustrating, pointless, and utterly unproductive. I once worked with a guy who, by his own admission, loved stirring up trouble. He would start arguments over the smallest, most inconsequential things. If you claimed something was white, he'd insist it was black, just to spark a debate. One memorable incident involved a weather app competition. One day he asked me what the temperature was, so I read it off my weather app. He got offended because his app showed it was a few degrees warmer. This escalated into a bizarre contest. He decided to record the temperatures from both apps throughout the week, and whichever app was closer to the actual high temperature at the end of the week would win. The loser would then have to start using the winner's app. My response was, "What is wrong with you?" For the first couple of days, he made a big show of walking into my office, checking my app, writing down the data, and leaving. This started on Monday, but by Wednesday he had given up. Maybe it was because I was ahead, or perhaps he realized I couldn't care less about weather apps despite his antics. Alternatively, it's possible the boss intervened after I filed a complaint that this was verging on harassment. This isn't my story, but once, a friend of mine, A, was having a debate with another friend, friend B. The topic? How some people don't have the luxury of choice in their lives due to their circumstances, like family background or poverty. Friend A brought up an example, saying, "What about starving children born in Africa? It's not like they had any choice in the matter." Friend B's response? "Who has ached them to be born in Africa? Just don't be born there." That was the moment we all realized, as a kid, I argued constantly with my sister. She had this habit of saying something, and then, not even a minute or two later, when I referenced it to prove a point, she'd deny ever saying it. "I never said that," or "That's not what I meant," were her go-to responses. It's impossible to argue with someone who will outright deny saying things if it weakens their position. I once had a similar experience with a coworker. They called me an idiot for doing something wrong, even though I was following the correct procedure. When I calmly explained that their way wouldn't work, they immediately pivoted to, "Why are you getting so mad? I was just trying to help." Instead of discussing the task, the argument shifted to whether or not I was angry. A close friend of mine wrote his capstone thesis on a topic related to Islam. He speaks Arabic fluently, is incredibly intelligent, has a deep passion for history, and devours books like candy. One day, he got into a lengthy debate on Reddit. He provided sources, explained concepts, and was about 500 words into a detailed reply when he decided to check the other person's posting history. Turns out, the guy he was debating was a self-proclaimed drink-your-own-urine enthusiast. If that doesn't summarize Reddit, I don't know what does. A close friend of mine wrote his capstone thesis on a topic related to Islam. He speaks Arabic fluently, is incredibly intelligent, has a deep passion for history, and devours books like candy. One day, he got into a lengthy debate on Reddit. He provided sources, explained concepts, and was about 500 words into a detailed reply when he decided to check the other person's posting history. Turns out, the guy he was debating was a self-proclaimed drink-your-own-urine enthusiast. If that doesn't summarize Reddit, I don't know what does. I wouldn't call my mother an idiot, but wow, she clings tightly to some questionable beliefs. For instance, whenever I bring up the fact that many European countries, like Sweden, offer universal healthcare, she immediately retorts with, "But they're taxed to death to pay for it." From my research, the reality is quite different. In the US, residents pay roughly 42% of their income in taxes, which is about 12% more than the 30% that Swedish citizens pay. I worked briefly as a line cook at Cracker Barrel, where a small saloon-style door separated the customer area from the staff-only section, including the kitchen and restrooms. There were multiple staff-only signs, one on the door, another above it, and a third at eye level on the wall behind the doors. Typically, if someone from the customer side needed to enter, they would say, "Coming in," before opening the door to avoid hitting staff, though customers usually didn't know this. One day, a man pushed open the door without warning and collided with a waitress carrying a large tray of drinks. Naturally, we were upset. His response? "You should put up a sign." When we pointed out all the signs already there, he remarked, "Hey, that seems a bit much."